To reflect on the life and legacy of 𝐒𝐫𝐲, we are delighted to welcome Dr. Sajitha Bashir, a distinguished economist, international development expert, and currently the Executive Vice Chairperson of VMFT. With an illustrious career at the World Bank, she served as the advisor to the Global Director of the Education Practice and as Education Manager for over 20 countries in Africa, overseeing a vast portfolio of education projects and policy research. Dr. Bashir played a pioneering role in establishing the first Pan-African Science Fund supported by African governments and international donors, marking a significant step towards building scientific capacity across the continent. She has worked extensively on human development projects in Latin America, South Asia, the Middle East, and Africa, bringing deep insights into global education systems. I now welcome Dr. Bashir to deliver the Centennial address.
So good morning to everyone. It is almost 1 a.m. here, but I'm still awake. And I wish to really thank Professor Kumar, Professor Jamila Begum, and Engineer Sohair for this starting off this session. It's my great honor to speak a few words on the occasion of the launch of the centennial celebrations of the birth of 𝐏𝐫𝐸, the founder of VMFT, both in my capacity as the Executive Vice Chairperson of VMFT and as his daughter. The enduring legacy of Sri.K.M.Bashir's life and labor is the VMFT, the institution he imagined, initiated, and invested in. Sadly, not long after its founding in 1986, fate dealt a cruel blow. He suffered a stroke, and although he overcame much of its effects and continued his work on VMFT, in 1990 he passed away all too suddenly at the age of 65. He therefore did not live to witness what the institution would grow into, but he etched its essence into its fiber through his philosophy and perspective on the major issues of our time. That, I believe, is his public legacy, a legacy I'll attempt to illuminate to show how unique it was, how singular it was, and why more than ever, this legacy must be sustained and strengthened. The theme we have chosen for this centennial year, equal humanity and equal citizenship, was not an abstract idea for him. It was woven into his very being and way of thinking. The years 1924 and 1925, the year of Bashir Sir's birth, marked a watershed in Kerala's civic and political awakening. In March 1924, the Vakkom Satyagraha began and continued for 604 unbroken days, sparking a national stir. What followed were 2 decades of ferment and flowering, with many new currents of thought, especially among the educated youth. A rising awareness of India as a nation, still unborn. The ideal of human equality, especially in the context of Indian context of untouchability and graded inequality. A secular imagination that different faiths could live side by side with shared citizenship, and the powerful ideas of the Russian Revolution and anti-colonial movements, reimagining freedom from oppression, sovereignty, and selfhood. These were the ideas of the Kerala reformers, Sri Narayana Guru, Vakkom Moulavi, 𝐒𝐚𝐬𝐿, and others, of Gandhi, Nehru, Ambedkar, Periyar, Bhagat Singh, Lenin, Sun Yat-sen, and many others, but all of whom I learned in my childhood, thanks to Bashir Sir. These were the years that shaped Bashir Sir, crucible in which his conscience was formed. He was 22 at the time of India's independence. In his lifetime, Bashir Sir achieved much in the realm of numbers as a statistician of rare skill and substance. Born and raised in a village, he earned a postgraduate degree in mathematics, an extraordinary feat at a time when only 22% of Muslim men, not women, but men, had completed just primary education. From this early chapter of his life, two lessons took root and stayed with him always. First, the transformative power of education, and second, the strength of women in shaping society's future. In later years, he often spoke with reverence of his mother and elder sister, who believed in education and left the familiarity of home and family to move to Trivandrum to support him. Complementing the love for logic and numbers was a love for literature, poetry, history, and politics. He would quote Kumar Nashan's Veena Poovu and Shelley's Odes, analyze Dostoevsky's Brothers Karamazov, and expound on Nehru's discovery of India. His professional career took him from Bangalore at the freshly founded National Sample Survey to New Delhi at the Central Statistical Organization, to the USA for a course in the George Washington University, and finally to Geneva, Switzerland at the Bureau of Statistics in the International Labour Organization, where he spent 18 years. Such was his influence that on his death, his colleagues dedicated the global ILO manual on employment and unemployment to Bashir Sir. And he was a centerpiece of the Indian community in Geneva, often invited to deliver talks on the Mahabharata and Gita and Indian culture because of his deep knowledge and critical understanding of different philosophies. Each phase of his professional career honed a clearer worldview about the agenda of national development and social justice, which eventually crystallized in the VMFT. Leading the household surveys as part of the National Sample Survey in Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka, he encountered the raw realities of rural India, its grinding poverty, its inherited burdens of caste, feudalism, landlordism, and ignorance, and yet its grace, generosity, and grit. These early experiences forged in him a deep empathy and an enduring belief that dignity begins with livelihoods and that productive employment is empowerment. A brief chapter in the United States and the longer stay in Switzerland gave him fresh lenses to witness the drive of the West for knowledge and progress, its high level of organization and its work ethic, but also to see the internal inequities of the West, its almost exclusive focus on material well-being, its frailty in family and community bonds, and its efforts to dominate and control other countries. From this experience, he highlighted the need for the systematic pursuit of knowledge, of science and technology for the people, of character building, and for self-respect and independence in order to ensure national and social development. On retirement, unlike most of his Indian colleagues, he left Switzerland with its pristine pastures and its clockwork precision of trains and buses that ran on time and everything that was spick and span in the streets. But Bashir Sir felt he owed something to the society, not just his family or community, the society that provided opportunities for his flourishing. He could have given to charity, but charity, he said, is momentary. Institutions endure. Charity is often just for specific beneficiaries. An institution stands for the collective, to carry forward ideas beyond any single lifetime. But for an institution, one needs right ideas, strong commitment, financial resources, and sound organization and management. VMFT was named after Vakkom Moulavi, not after himself, to preserve the great social reformer's record for objective study, not for sanctification, and to correct a deep historical injustice whereby his contributions were erased. But this objective of a memorial was not the only objective. VMFT's objectives are broad, to promote the all-round progress, intellectual and cultural, social and spiritual, economic and political. And to do this, VMFT must address contemporary issues and find solutions to the problems affecting our society. I have highlighted how the ideas of development with social justice through education and meaningful employment became an integral part of Bashir Sir's thinking and central to VMFT's work. But there was another aspect which is very pertinent to our theme today that he felt was crucial for India's development and its continuation as a nation. He wrote, and I quote, "VMFT is intended to bring understanding between religions and communities. It is a primary function. Every action should keep this in mind," end quote. Religion is central to most Indians, and Bashir Sir saw it in the villages and towns across India. But the kind of economic development adopted in India favors certain groups, while others are systematically denied opportunities in education, employment, and politics. What we see as religious conflict and conflict between communities often begins as structural inequality. VMFT, he said, must not stand for narrow sectarian interests or polemics, but for knowledge, research, reflection, and action to forge greater unity. I believe that the period we are living in is no less momentous than the formative years of Bashir Sir. We are faced with an onslaught on ideas, on the idea of equal humanity, and an onslaught on our rights as individuals and communities living within a polity, within a nation. Therefore, on the idea of equal citizenship. We're living in a world of astonishing technological progress, but millions are likely to be thrown out of work, and climate change can devastate societies. We're living in a world where armed conflicts, genocide, crimes against humanity are being normalized 80 years after the end of the Second World War. We must therefore derive strength from our past, but we cannot live in the past. VMFT will continue to serve as a platform for new ideas, for generating knowledge about our society and world, and helping people to act for a better future. Let me therefore conclude with the words of Bashir Sir, quote, "The development of a people depends ultimately on its character and its stock of knowledge," end quote. So I invite you all, not just to commemorate, but to contribute, to carry forward the vision, to continue the work, and thereby to honor the legacy of Sri.K.M.Bashir. Thank you very much.